What up, y'all? It's the Real Ball Watcher. Grab your binoculars, and I'm back with another video. Today we covering the guy who basically won the Senior Bowl, or maybe he came in second place. We'll give it to co-MVPs, basically. Roman Wilson. If you like the video, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe so you can go ahead and join the cult. You feel me? We are a cult, Real Ball Watching cult. Sorry if you see my dog in the back. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment what you think, comment who you want to see next, and be here next week because we drop one every single Friday. Let's get it. All right, Roman Wilson stats. Sorry, my dog want to say hey. Say hey, Mooney. All right. The boy's 5'10". He's 186. He's a senior, a true senior. He spent 4 years in Michigan. 2020, he played 6 games, 9 catches, 122 yards, 1 tutty. No rushing stats, but I do have rushing stats up. 2021, 13 games, 25 catches, 420 yards, 3 tutties, and he did get a little bit of work in the run game, a little bit of end rounds. He had 2 carries for 59 yards, almost 60 yards. What's that? 30 yards a carry almost. He went crazy. 2022, 12 games this time, 25 catches, 376 yards, 4 tutties. He also had 200. Oh, my bad, not 200. He also had 2 carries and 39 yards with 2 tutties. So both times he touched the ball, he scored on the ground whenever he got some end and rounds, things like that in the run game. 2023, this was the breakout year. 15 games, 48 catches, 789 yards, 12 tutties. He was not playing with them boys. He was trying to see that end zone this year, touchdown machine, and 1 carry for 10 yards. So that's all he did this year. Pretty good year, pretty decent year. He's, like I said, touchdown machine. But let's go ahead and get into the stuff y'all came here for. Let's get into the film. All right, first point, if you've been watching the Senior Bowl or if you're a Michigan fan, you already know this. Speed. The guy is a freaking a Ferrari. He has speed for days. He was their slot flanker at Michigan. He was stretching the field, getting the safety 15 yards off of him, 20 yards off of him. He's that speed. He has that speed. He might be one of the fastest guys, if not the fastest. I still think maybe Worthy is, but he's in the top 4 or 5 fastest guys within this class easily. Really, really fast. The next great, really fast. But anyways, the next great point. I brought up this last week with dang, what they racing outside the crib? Anyways, I brought up this last week when I talked about Xavier Leggett, where he is really fast, but it might take him a little minute to kind of get up to that speed. These next 2 points, this kind of relates to that. He's twitched up. His short area quickness is great. I mean, he's going to be able to cut off a dime, kind of beat you on a drag really fast in that short area. Or if you're kind of trying to tackle him, he kind of moves shifty, really side to side, able to get in and out of there. He's just a twitched up athlete in general. It's not just straight line speed, it's side to side agility, all that basically. And also the next point, he has sports car-esque. That's what I got. Sports car-esque start-stop speed, 0 to 60 in 1.2 seconds. I mean, for a second, he's standing there and he's gone. I mean, you get him off the line, he's standing there, boom, he's in his drag, he's running past. He's kind of slows down within the route, boom, hits that 3rd gear just out of nowhere. He has that great start-stop that you want to see from your speed guy and from the guy that you want to threaten deep. Like I said, one of the craziest twitched up athletes when it comes to speed and agility in the class. Maybe not as much agility, but when it comes to speed, side to side, straight line, whatever it is, he has that. Also, I wanted to point out, he is amazing in motion. Now, this is for the teams, those Dolphins teams, those Rams teams. I can't remember who else started doing 49ers teams, where you guys are kind of taking over the league, taking the league by storm with this, putting your wide receiver in motion and snapping it as soon as they get to top speed, so they're into their route quick, and the defense kind of caught off guard. The Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle esque releases. He is amazing. He was doing that at Michigan. He's amazing in motion. He basically comes across the line of scrimmage, or kind of comes from the outside into the slot, or goes from the slot to the outside. He, like I said, because he has that 0 to 60 start stop, he gets out of there quick. He's going to be great for one of those teams in motion. Or if your team doesn't use that, you will be able to kind of equip that with him in motion and things like that at the next level. Also, this is where we kind of bring in the Senior Bowl tape. For the guys that were at the Senior Bowl, we will be showing their Senior Bowl tape if I have some highlights, or if I have some of their tape from the Senior Bowl. But he's an easy separator. He showed it all all week at the Senior Bowl. Well, not all week because he only stayed for 2 days out of the 3. But all week at the Senior Bowl, he was just killing everybody in one-on-ones. If you don't have help over top, it's going to be hard because you have to worry about that speed. Basically, he was just destroying guys. I hope I'm playing the highlight tape now as I speak, but he's just easily beating guys off the line. He's kind of threatening in one way, boom, gone the next way. Everybody's scared of his speed. Basically, big deep threat. He had a couple deep catches in the scrimmages where he just beat the defense over the top. Really easy separator because of that speed. He's going to be great for an offense that needs somebody to stretch the field and separate easily. But that's one of the strengths that he has. The next one I want to say, he beats running or tackling angles with his speed. We're going to talk about his yak later on in the video. I think you guys know what that means. But he is able to beat guys, and he'll be able to create yak just based off his speed, because guys are not going to be able to get a good tackling angle on him because he may slow it down and maybe trick you into thinking you got a good angle and get out of there, or he might just simply outrun you to the spot, period. And he's really fast, so he's going to be able to outrun angles. I know we talked about I forgot who we talked about, Xavier Worthy, where I was like, he's able to outrun angles. Roman Wilson definitely has that ability also. He's going to be able to use that at the next level. The last 2 points, I say he has a decent catch radius. He showed in the Bama game, he had a pretty good catch where he kind of extended outside of his frame. It wasn't something insane like the catches last week with Leggett that we were covering, but he has some pretty decent catch radius where he extends outside his frame. He had that insane catch when Quinyon Mitchell called him out at the Senior Bowl for a one-on-one, and he kind of ran that speed out and both of them stumbled. He had that insane one-hander catch in the Senior Bowl in that one-on-one. He also had some pretty good catches later on in the year. I want to say it was against Ohio State or somebody, where he kind of jumps up and grabs it off of their helmet from behind them. You got Moss moment. He has some ability to win the contested catch also and reach outside of his frame. So we know that the passing offense at Michigan wasn't great because of the quarterback play, things like that. So I'm kind of wanting to see what he can provide when it comes to the catch radius, contested catch, or even his route running, things like that. Hold on, my dog wants to move. Even his route running, whenever he's going to be in a more pass-happy offense and things like that. So I'm kind of want to see what that's going to be like. The last good point I want to say, he is really good. The first thing I noticed, really, outside of his speed, of course, because that was the first thing I wrote down. But this was the second thing I wrote down, and I just moved it to the bottom because it's so specific. He's really good at beating off coverage without breakers from the slot. Now, when I say that, off coverage, because he played in the slot so much, usually the DB is 10 to 15 plus off. He's still able to beat those guys because he's threatening them with his speed so much and be able to whip it off. He still has 4 or 5 yards of separation, where other receivers, DBs, will be able to kind of get downhill onto that pass and make it a difficult pass. Not for him. He's really good at beating off coverage from the slot, and it's because how fast he is. I mean, he can beat 2 guys that are playing safety basically with his speed because he's that fast. Like, I'm telling you, he's going to be one of the fastest players to run a 40, or one of the fastest players to come from the class. I'm not a big fan of 40s no more. I've been tricked after the COVID year. I'm more about miles per hour. So he's probably going to have one of the fastest miles per hours in the NFL year after year. But let's get into the stuff that's not necessarily his game. All right, I already mentioned it before. He's a slot only guy. When you look at his measurements, he's measured in much smaller than he was listed at. He was listed at 6 foot or 6'1" on Michigan's roster or wherever they put it at ESPN. But when he went to the Senior Bowl exposing everybody. Also, people been commenting the Leggett video. I saw that he did not measure at 6'3". It's not my fault that they lied. He is 6 foot or 6'1", one of those. But he's 5'10", so he's probably going to be a slot only guy. And because he's a slot only guy, I kind of have some more points to prove that, which will go into the next one. He struggles when a DB is able to get his hands on him and be super duper physical. He had a play against TCU where the guy kind of jumped at him, and it was almost at the instant of the snap, and he was just done for the rest of the route. I kind of left it off at first, but then I went into the next game, and then it immediately happened again where somebody was able to get their hands on him, get both hands up in his chest plate, and he's not able to move or get off of that. So he does struggle when somebody gets their hands on, and especially when somebody's super duper physical like that. I want to say maybe it was Josh Newton from TCU. I might be wrong. It might not have been him, but it was one of those TCU corners that had him manned up in the slot and kind of jumped on him, got out on him quick, and he was struggling to get off that press, which goes into the next point. Y'all got on me, LSU fans. Get the gat. Y'all killed me when I told y'all that who is it? Brian Thomas Jr.? Is it Brian Thomas Jr.? Whichever the dark skin guy from LSU. Y'all killed me when I said I didn't like his releases because he dips that shoulder like he's trying to get around the edge or like he's an edge defender or something like that. And y'all was like, oh, it's like a basketball player. It's da-da-da. But Steve Smith just said the same exact thing about Malik Neighbors, and he explained it. When you dip your shoulder, you're putting stress on your back. It's giving the DB a little bit of an advantage. It's also slowing you down. We have a shoulder dipper on our hands, and that's why I think he's going to be slot only. And why they used him so much in motion in Michigan, kind of to give him a free release. He likes to dive that shoulder when he's facing press. You've seen it all week at the Senior Bowl if you were kind of paying attention. He kind of loops around the guy and then he was winning, but he kind of dips and goes around the guy instead of kind of giving him quick move, getting him off balance, kind of like Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey's standing there and he give you release, you thrown off that way. Now he can go straight and get into his route. He kind of loops around guys and dives that shoulder and get around, but because he's so fast, it might not matter. He might be able to keep all of this is about the timing of your offense. Your quarterback doesn't have all day, so you kind of got to get your release done, get into your route, and get your eyes on the quarterback, because if you don't, looked at it with the Panthers all year with Adam Thielen when the QB school was criticizing him. If you're not to your landmark fast enough, the QB is coming off of you. Now you're open, sitting there waving your hands, but the ball is going, or he's sacked, or he's running because you didn't get to your landmark fast enough. Whenever you dive that shoulder and kind of loop around guys and can't beat the press, that throws that timing off. So that's why I always put this here. So stop coming at me, LSU fans. Steve Smith said it. Maybe y'all will listen to him. Anyways, that's another reason why I think he might be a slot only guy, or probably is going to be a slot only guy when you take into account his size and his struggle with press. The last point I want to say is he has his lack of contact balance and aggressiveness as a runner could limit his yak ability. When I say that, I'm not saying that he has to be this bulldozing, breaking tackle type of guy. It's not terrible that he's not that guy, but I do wonder when guys are just as fast as you, or kind of closer to the speed that you are when you're playing in the NFL, if the yak ability he has is going to be less than what he did in Michigan, because he's not going to be able to outrun every tackle angle. He's not going to be able to just run past guys. So that could limit the amount of yak that he usually would get in the college. It might limit him at the next level. It's not, like I said, it's not the end all be all. It's just something that you kind of want to point out, because when you're looking at those star receivers, yeah, they don't always have the speed, but when you're looking at those speed guys, you're looking at Tyreek Hill, looking at Jalen Waddle, DK Metcalf. Those guys can maybe break a tackle or two, hit a juke or two, especially like Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. Those guys are super agile, especially Tyreek Hill. He'll give you a couple moves. I didn't see a lot of jukes and agility and spins from Roman Wilson. I seen him mainly just beating tackling angles. So when you take that into account, and then you also take into account, I didn't see him break a whole bunch of tackles or kind of running through arm tackles, things like that. He might be a little bit more limited with his yak, because it's just basically speed. But let's get into his player builder so we can get y'all up out of here. Now today we have built a field stretching slot. Basically what I talked about before. He is basically a guy that's going to be a slot only guy, but he also is a field stretcher, so he's kind of going to be that flanker almost, where he's going to be able to stretch the defense from the slot, and maybe your X receiver or Z receiver comes behind him or under him with the backside dig, things like that. But also you're going to be able to hit him over the top of the slot, but then he's going to be really good on crossing routes, really good on drags, maybe on slants, ending arounds, jet sweeps. He's going to be that flanking speedster slot guy at the next level that you're going to be able to just to get the ball in his hands, and he's going to be able to beat the defense deep if he needs to, if you need him to, things like that. Big play threat, basically. Usually those guys are really big play threats, but you can see with his production in Michigan, he's not going to be a consistent producer of like a Stephon Diggs, a Devontae Adams, a guy that you're able to get it to. All right, we need 10 yards. Let's go ahead and throw him a backside dig or a frontside dig. Let's go ahead and throw him a comeback route, a curl, a speed out. I don't know. He'll be able to run speed outs too. He's really good, like I said, in off coverage. I don't know if he's going to be those down and down consistent, all right, we need to get a couple yards, we're going to get it to him guy. Maybe on drags, but his route tree probably won't be as much expansive as those guys that are playing X or Z type of thing. He's a slot guy. He's a field stretching slot, which can be really, really good at the next level. Which, let's go ahead and get in talking to the guys that are like that. The ceiling, or the highest one I have for him, he just reminds me of Santana Moss, a kind of smaller guy, not necessarily little framed, but he gotta look like he got a little stockier, a little muscle on him. He'll be able to add muscle at the NFL weightlifting programs, things like that, and dietitians. But he looks like Santana Moss. Santana Moss was beating guys over top with that speed. He was taking those ending arounds. He was returning punts. He kind of looks like Santana Moss whenever I watch him. Whenever I watch his highlights, necessarily not much at Michigan because he was only getting 3-4 max catches a game, except for that Purdue game. I think he had like 9, but most of the time it was 1, 2, or 3 catches in the game. So I don't know if he's gonna be a super dominant, like take over the target share receiver, but he'll be a big play threat. And another guy that is like that is Rashid Shaheed. He's that big play threat for the New Orleans Saints. Boo, we don't like y'all. Rashid Shaheed basically is that big play threat for the Saints, but he has a little bit more twitch and wiggle in his routes, and he's going to be a little bit better of a route runner than Roman Wilson is. Roman Wilson, I want to say he only spent 4 years in college. I don't remember his age, but he might have the ability to add that later on in his game, or he might have that and we didn't see it because a lot of people didn't see that in Rashid Shaheed coming out, and he ended up having it day one. So he's the Saints kind of big play flanking slot type of guy where Mike Evans is your possession guy, or A.T. Perry if Mike Evans is hurt, and then Chris Godwin is your, not Chris Godwin, what's bro name? Chris Olave is your Z receiver, and that's kind of their dependable down to down. If I need a comeback, if I need a go, if I need a post, if I need a dig, he's that type of guy. That's who Chris Olave is. So he could be like Rashid Shaheed, which is a really, really good receiver. Kind of identical production. Rashid Shaheed only had like 200 yards last year, has 700 this year. Kind of looks like his Roman Wilson stats in Michigan. But the last one I have, which Marquise Goodwin was really, really good. Still is really, really good and really, really fast. Kind of that flanker, smaller guy, not necessarily a super yacked up guy when it comes to breaking tackles and things like that. But that straight line speed is deadly. That start to stop is kind of deadly. But, injuries kind of stopped his career from taking off super. Now he's kind of like a journeyman. But I could see Roman Wilson at the very least being a contributor to a team like a Marquise Goodwin would be. But that's all I got for y'all in this video. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. I want to thank y'all. Y'all went crazy the last 2-3 videos, really. Mikey Sarenstill video went crazy. Like 1,000 views in the first day. It didn't move after that, though. But 1,000 views in like the first day, or 800. Yeah, at like 1.1K now. Dave Canales video went insane. I didn't think I was going to have a video that would be as good as that Dave Canales video for a long time. And then the next day I dropped the XL video, and XL has the most views on my channel, almost at 5,000 views. So I appreciate y'all. Like the video, please. Share the video, please. Comment what you think and who you want me to do next, please. This has been the Real Ball Watcher. I'm out. See y'all Friday.